The Kingsbury mural comes very early in John's career at UNH. He did it the year after he was hired. So he was a brand new assistant professor at UNH when he did that work.
It was the opening of the original Kingsbury Hall. It was commissioned in 1950, just 5 years after the U.S. dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan.
The dean asked him to portray the kinds of engineering activities that would have led up to the development of atomic power.
The development of atomic energy was a very new thing when John did this painting, and indeed that sword of Damocles, which is at the very center of the thing, does a beautiful job of symbolizing the choices that we have in the use of atomic power.
He wanted it to be clear that it could be made for pleasant life work as well as for destruction.
In 2003, a portion of the building was going to have to be destroyed, the older part of the building, and unfortunately the library where that mural was installed was part of the building that was going to be destroyed.
Oh, it was crucial that John's mural on atomic energy be preserved.
Conceptually, we didn't understand how it would occur. And we thought that at some point, you know, they would come to their senses and say, no, this is too difficult, it's too much money, you know, for something that potentially might not work out.
It was going to be a very complicated and a very risky process because it was decided that the mural would be relocated into the newer part, to the brand new wing of Kingsbury Hall, and it meant moving it from the second floor library to a new part of the building and on the lower floor.
We offered them a lot of different alternatives. We did some scans of it. We suggested they reproduce it as a type of wallpaper. I think at some point we came to the realization that they were in fact serious about moving it. We got right up to the moment in which the demolition forces were creeping against it, and at that point we were ready to move it.
Usually when we move a wall painting, we can separate the painting from the wall. In this case, the structure is so sound that there is no inherent weakness that we can exploit to separate the painting. So after looking at this, I decided the best way to do it is pick up the whole painting, including the wall.
Initially we started, it was an old 4-inch unreinforced concrete wall, the old cinder type block. We put a surface bonded cement on the backside to stiffen it up, braced the wall in position, took the top off. We slid a little piece of angle into a groove that we cut below the wall, and then actually built a truss on either side.
The problem in moving something like this is you don't get a second chance. So if you overlook one thing and something untoward occurs, you can't back up.
We've tightened the top bolts on both sides already, we know that, right? We braced the top of the beam, we braced the wall.
Everything's ready for the cut.
Yep.
Tom Nudd saw cut the mural in half with a gas-powered 14-inch electric demo saw with a diamond blade. Each half weighed about 6,000 pounds. He cut that dead straight. George was convinced watching Tommy work that he would be able to make that cut.
Tommy is 100% committed to this thing, and Tommy would carry it on his back if he thought that was the best way to do it.
Well, there was a lot of anxiety relating to the point at which you transfer the load from being supported on the bottom to being hung from the top.
What I'd like to do is just cut it loose. The next step, pick it up a little bit off of the wall. Then everybody can be quiet. We'll look around, we'll make sure nothing's yielding. You don't hear anything moving, you don't hear any cracks or creaks.
It's really a test of a team effort, but if something goes wrong, it's my responsibility. And now comes the moment of proof.
That's good though.
Look at that baby swinging, huh?
Nice job, Chris.
No, we're not even halfway there though. Well, I think everybody was kind of holding their breath to make sure that nothing was creaking, that no bolts were yielding. That's why we shut everything off and made sure that we listened and we had people looking at different areas. It's a bit unreal. We didn't expect it to go, and I think everybody was kind of looking at it for a minute and saying, wow, I didn't think that would happen. Maybe George wasn't surprised, but the rest of us were. We were concerned that when we picked it up, there would be a change in the force distribution in the mural from what it had experienced for 50 years in its last location, and that we would get a little cracking. So at that point, we went very, very slowly. We took the blocks away one by one underneath it, and we let it hang in its position. Well done, men. Well done.
Good job, Chris.
Well done. We got it hanging. Good job on everyone.
When we made that, what appeared to be the final cut, at that point, I knew that we were basically home free because we were supporting the painting by the chain walls at that point.
We're going to get this piece ready so that when we pick this free, we're going to drift it down and we're going to transfer it to this trolley. Will then allow us to move it along the beam and get ready to go around the corner. We should get it down to a position where the bottom of the mural is about 4 inches off the floor, and that will allow us to pass under these bar joists and make the transition around the corner to this beam and these trolleys here.
Stop!
Tom, you ready? All right, go ahead. Push me, Doug.
Nice and easy.
As we lower it through the floor in the corner, we're going to drop it onto those wheeled portions so that we can push it out into the new building.
Okay, coming down easy. Good.
Tommy got it exactly right as usual.
Is it right?
It's exactly right as usual. Now we need to make up the changes.
This thing's a little bit tippy, or it has the potential to tip, and that's what makes me the most nervous. I think that we got to be conscious of the fact that there's 6,000 pounds there, and if it starts to go over, if something snaps or something twists, you know, something doesn't behave exactly as we've anticipated, somebody could get hurt.
This way. Good. It's good.
We rolled it over to its current location. There's a beam above where it is now. We trolleyed it up and slid it into place, 2 halves at a time. Each half weighed about 6,000 pounds. Once they were in position, we lined them up and put some structural support under them and then released them from the beam. At that point, George Adams came back with his wife and then they restored the mural.
Did you
just so much going on here that's so fascinating. Any little section you look at, once you start honing in on it, because you need to treat it, you need to make sure it's okay in every way. You look at it and figure out what he wanted it to do, what he was doing, whether it's communicating still what he wanted, and if not, what should you do to fix it. You don't go to fix every single thing that's wrong, or that's quote unquote that's wrong, or that's changed since it was done. You don't want to get rid of or camouflage all signs of change and age and the history of the picture. It's a question of making a decision each time about what's the least you can do to recover your original aesthetic character of the thing. But you always have to remember that you're a visitor, you know? It's not your painting.
Public art has a way of adding meaning to people's lives and touching people on a day-to-day basis as they encounter art. I think the fact that this mural of John's is in an even more public place in Kingsbury Hall and is going to be encountered by students and visitors on a day-to-day basis is going to extend not only the life of the mural, but the significance of the piece.
I think the painting says two things to the inhabitants of the building. One is, as an engineer, I think the questions it raises are important philosophical questions that all engineers and scientists ought to always have on their mind. Then in addition, it's a symbol of the continuity of the community, that contributions of faculty and student members from the past continue to contribute to the intellectual and emotional environment of the university today and tomorrow.
The project was especially meaningful to me because I went to UNH and I still knew many of the professors who are teaching here. It's been one of the high points of my career. It really belongs where it is right now, and it would have been a shame not to move it.
I think John would be terrifically happy that we've gone to the expense and effort to move this thing. I think he's smiling down on everyone involved right now, as a matter of fact.
He would be so honored that they have done this to preserve it. Really, he would be astonished. I just wish he could have seen the move. He would have been right there with everybody, probably right in their way. So I felt I was privileged to be there in his place.